Hey guys, it's Greg Towne, host of the podcast Go Time, where every week I sit down with some of the top leaders of their industries and professions, and they share with you how they became the trendsetters of their industries. It's Go Time. Well, hello there, everybody. This is Greg Towne. I'm the host of Go Time, our podcast out here where I get to sit down with some of the industry's leaders and movers and shakers and get a chance to chat with them and learn from them of what they're seeing in their industry and what they did to help themselves get to where they're at in their position stuff. So today I have the most awesome, fortunate to be able to sit down with somebody that I refer to as one of my gurus in this industry, Mr. AJ Puedan. AJ, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It's awesome that I get to do this interview with you. I think you and I met probably must have been, like 8 years ago or something like that?
Give or take.
And, the great people, they hang around, they stick around, and so I'm honored to be able to talk with you today about this.
Yeah. Well, AJ, share with me a little bit about your business and about what you do.
Well, my company is called Success Coach Technologies, and really what it does is it really focuses on helping people start to learn the skill sets of being a coach, whether coach, consultant, trainer. I have an extensive background in the seminar industry, as we'll discover more. And, oftentimes I meet coaches and they want, they just call themselves a coach one day. Today I'm a coach. And yet if you want to be a teacher, you have to actually go to school to learn how to be a teacher, right? And I think the same thing should happen with coaches as well. So you got the coaches, and then they will go into then I also teach them in hypnosis so they can understand, what's really going on behind the scenes with people, give them that unique position. And also I have a history of being a speaker trainer, and so I help them build their businesses as such as well. So all the technologies around building that business for people is where I've spent 30 years perfecting and helping others start and grow their businesses.
Oh, wow. So how'd you get started in that industry? How'd you get started in training and in speaking?
You know what? That is something that is probably a very unique story to me, because I actually got started when I was 14 years old. How many people can say that? Right? At 14, I went to a seminar with my mom, and she was a real estate agent. Well, student ready teacher appeared, and I didn't learn anything about sales that day. But what I did learn was I learned communications. And at that time, I really needed kind of like the personal development communications. I was last chair clarinet player, voted most quiet. Quite frankly, I was very depressed. I was on antidepressants as a teenager. And this course on sales, of all things, really taught me something. It taught me how to communicate differently to myself as well as to others. And so I didn't sell real estate. I didn't sell waterbeds. I didn't sell, many things, but I did learn how to sell hope and dreams and sell myself to myself, and actually help the kids around me as well. So I went from that last chair clarinet player to getting most inspirational award in the entire school. And so, immediately I was hooked. At age 15, I was really starting to work in the industry, helping out other gurus, other people in the industry, and really learning a lot. And so ever since then, I've been doing the same thing, and I kind of stuck around the longest, pretty soon I know the most. And I was always a student at first. I wasn't just like doing a job because this was my job and this is what I'm supposed to do. I always did my job because I was interested in actually learning, learning about the business of changing people's lives, not just, how do you do it? What makes the people work, some people successful and other people not? How do you make money? And why did some people get into the business and became, broke poor, and some people get in the business and they strike it rich? What's the difference between the two? And so I always had a big heart for working in this industry, and that's how I got started. Just as a teenager, it's like a duck in water. It's what I've always known, and it's still something that I have a huge passion for.
What was it like when you first got started?
Oh, well, nowadays the whole idea of information marketing and in training that wasn't very big. I mean, like the big seminar companies back then were what was his name? Charles Gibbons. Charles Gibbons, had one of the biggest seminar companies around at that time. Tony Robbins was just starting. Well, I mean, he's been around. He had a long start, but he was just starting to really get his name. His infomercial was just coming out. I mean, just infomercial. That whole concept was just evolving around there. And then, and that was even before info marketing, where really training was taught. And so we didn't really have speaker trainers or coach trainers, in organizations that were very well known or very adept to doing that. And so you really had to kind of figure it out yourself. You could talk to industry people, but that didn't really necessarily, always help. And so doing kind of growing up rogue in the sense of didn't really have any mentors or teachers other than where you were personally affected and then had to reverse engineer it to come up with something. So that's how we kind of got started. It was really kind of bootstrapping it and learning how to figure it out.
Awesome. What were some of your best lessons that you learned coming up in this industry?
Well, probably that was one of the greatest lessons, what I just said, which is you had to kind of figure it out. As a coach or a trainer or a speaker, there's the Radio Shack saying, you have questions, we have answers, right? And it is that I believe confidence is self-reliance. In other words, you can depend on yourself. Well, I can depend on myself and my clients can depend on themselves even when they're in a situation they've never been before because they believe and they know they have the skills to figure things out. And so all of a sudden your confidence rise when you can handle anything that comes your way. And that really comes from just the love of learning. Learn to learn. Learn to teach yourself. So as much as I teach seminars and I teach others to teach seminars, I also believe in a process that I tell people called self-seminar. In other words, you've got to help teach yourself. There are certain subjects that I want to learn, and I really don't know anyone who teaches it. So what do? I write a seminar for it that I can attend. Right? And I start coming up with the content, and I put myself through it, And when I get a successful answer, great, awesome. Now I bet you know what? I'm probably not the only person in the world who wants to know something about this, right? There's probably someone else out there who wants to know about this too. So now I find them and I teach them what I already taught myself, and all of a sudden I'm perpetuating. And over 30 years, I think I probably have written over 55 different seminars,
Wow.
and stuff. But self-learning, that love of self-learning, being able to figure out is probably one of the key pieces. And also finding something that you will do and have a passion for, and you'll do, no matter what. It's kind of doing what you love. Last year, I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 8 days. And it was quite a scary experience. And, while I was on that hospital bed, I said, what am I going to do just sitting here? And quite frankly, I was thinking, this could be it. These could be my last days. You know what? Open up my computer. Let's send an email out. I'm doing a webinar because I'm not done talking yet. and I think about the saying, people ask, what would you do? No one said on their deathbed that they wish they worked more. You know what? I found out I did. I was on my deathbed thinking I'm about to die, wishing, oh my gosh, I got to get to work. There's something there. And that's, I'm 45 now. At 45 years old, I'm still doing what I did as a teenager. There's a big clue that this is something that I absolutely love. So find something you truly love and find a way to build a business around that and teach yourself to learn. Teach yourself to learn, and you can handle anything. Yeah.
How is your coaching different than what you see other coaches do in the industry?
I have a saying that it's all chicken. It's the flavor that makes it different, right? In other words, coaching, consulting, it's like, how do you tell one difference from another? And really what it comes down to is the flavoring. Yeah. The flavoring. In other words, someone might like Italian chicken, someone might like Mexican chicken, right? And if you like Mexican chicken, you might not like the other one. And so when it comes to coaching, consulting, seminars, there's a lot of great information out there, a lot of great processes, and there's a lot of things that will make you successful. Now, at the same time, chicken is going to feed you, but if you don't like the flavor that it has, you may not eat any more of it, right? So you really got to find the teacher-student match that fits a person, you know? So I believe that, do you do martial arts? I don't quite remember.
Been a while, but yeah, I've done some like a keto training and martial arts.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of martial arts too, and you know, I believe when it comes to martial arts, again, they're all teaching kind of the same technique. There's certain strategies of that, but the teacher makes all the difference in the world. And so I shop teachers is my saying nowadays. I don't buy seminars. There's some seminars that I've attended. I had no idea what it was about. All I know is that I like the teacher. For example, Dan Millman. He wrote the book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Right? I went to a seminar in Puerto Rico. Costa Rica with him, and I had no idea. People ask, AJ, what's the seminar about? I don't know, but all I know is Dan Millman's there and I'm there, right? So what coaching different is really just kind of the flavor of it, who I am. People identify with me. You know, I believe that everyone matters, and I have a genuine belief in. I easily find people amazing, and I want the world to see them. You know, when I was 14 years old and on those antidepressants, one of the things that really bothered me back as a teenager was I felt invisible, like nobody saw me, like I didn't matter in the world. And when I went to that first seminar, all of a sudden it empowered me so that I could be noticed and that I could make a difference in the world. And being one of those invisible kids in high school, it was easy for me to identify all the other invisible kids. How they were drifting away, and I could understand their pain, you know, like I don't matter and no one's going to miss me if I'm not here. Well, I understand that, and so I go out to people who have great hearts and I say, I see you, you are amazing, and the world needs to see you as well, and I help them become that. And so that's a little bit of that flavor. You know, a lot of what I teach is from experience, 30 years of hundreds of thousands of case studies of what works, and so I love doing that with people.
Awesome. What have been some of your best experiences of being a coach and a trainer and a speaker?
You know, that one there is always what's top of mind, because there's probably literally thousands of just rewarding times and moments. You know, I teach this one particular seminar that I've been doing like twice a year, every year for 20 years. And to really be one of the first people to open up a person's eyes to what's possible. You know, there's so much out there that tells people what to do and how to be. I believe we learn from experiences. So to be the person to give a person an experience and open their eyes, it is it's very rewarding. You know, there's a saying out there, you know, a definition of a miracle is a shift in perception. I mean, you can shift someone's perception of going from a world of hate to a world of love. Even just in their own world, they start to see the love instead of the hate. And literally, a miracle has happened. Oh my gosh, everybody's different. Everyone's changed. And no, they haven't. You just shifted what they pay attention to. So I can literally create miracles in people's lives. I worked with this one lady who was hadn't slept more than 2 or 3 hours at one time for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And quite frankly, it looked, you know, if you kind of wonder what that does to a person's health, it looked like this person hasn't slept in years, right? And she's done every psychologist, every type of therapy, every kind of prescription drug, herbal drug, you know, everything to do that. And working with her, I gave her the suggestion and worked with her, to find out, you know, the reason why she always resisted and didn't sleep was that she was abused as a child, and in her mind, if I go to sleep, I die.
Wow.
Right? So even if given a prescription drug, even wanting to go to sleep, she would resist it. It's like, why would you resist it? You know what it's doing and all these logical things. But until I can work and find that internal peace in someone, shift their perception of their own personal safety and control of their life, nothing else changes. Well, all of a sudden, a month later, she gives me a call and says, AJ, I just had 7 hours of sleep for the first time in my life.
Wow.
That's very rewarding. It's awesome. Not to mention seeing all the successes in other people as well. That going from broke to I started one company teaching people speaking skills, and my first 4 clients, brand new in the industry, all did $1 million their first year.
Nice.
Right? So that's rewarding seeing people get rewarded for being good.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some of the changes you see coming up in the future in the speaking and the training and the coaching industry?
Oh, this is an interesting time just because, culturally we're shifting a lot. Just the, people's ideas of what's happening is shifting a lot. And so the way that people are buying, the way that people are learning is very different as well. For example, before it was very, quite frankly, kind of greed-driven, money-driven, like what makes me the most money, that's what I'm going to do, right? And it doesn't matter what I need to do, I just want to make the most money possible, right? And quite frankly, they started working with gurus and teachers that, they may not even like them, but that person had money, so I'm going to go with them.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like them, but I want to go with them. Well, that's not the case nowadays. Things are kind of shifting. People really want to know who you are, and that's why, that's why I like this podcast that you're doing, and I'm sure that's one reason why you're doing this podcast, because you want to get people to know you and be familiar with you, right?
Yep.
What is that? Know, like, and trust, right? Know, like, and trust you. And so nowadays, I think it's a changing of the guard. There are certain people who knew how to sell from this like power greed perception, and now all of a sudden they're shifting, and so now they have to play something different. They have to become something different, and they have to show who they really are. And yet, so many of them are faking sincerity. There he goes, oh yeah, I really care about people. No, you don't. It's like I've seen behind the scenes. And then I also see some really good caring people who didn't get a chance before, and yet now they're ready to step up.
Yeah.
And people are liking that. And at the same time, they may not step up in a huge way, but I'm seeing a lot, instead of like large organizations, I'm seeing many, many successful smaller organizations. And I think that's going to be a big trend. The judgment of and the scale of how we say someone's successful is going to be measured very differently.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be measured of how much success have you done in the past. It's what quality of life can you offer me? And teach me how to live my own quality of life. I think those are going to make a big difference in the industry today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's that one question you wish that more people would ask you?
That's always a great question. I really think it kind of goes into a little bit of that why, my why. And I already kind of mentioned it a little bit before, being that invisible kid. Today I have a very successful organization, and yet a lot of people don't even know why I do it. They're not sure if I'm sincere about that. What's the difference between this? So all the questions you're asking is actually the reason is exactly what I want people to know, and that's why I want to be on your podcast. And that is being that invisible kid. I want people to know that I understand what that's like, and because there's always the troubled kids that were we knew who they were and they got plenty of attention and helped them, and then you got the people who are excelling and they get a lot of attention. It's kind of like that middle ground that kind of gets ignored, and all of a sudden that's the person who ends up getting kicked to the wayside, or something traumatic happens in our communities with that person because no one gave them attention. And so I say, I like to give them that personal touch, and look to redefine success. I think that's also, just the biggest part there. What is your own personal definition of success, and not to compare it to everybody else. Yeah. I see so many people who are almost embarrassed about their goals and dreams because they don't think they're big enough. You know, and because their friends, all of a sudden they're comparing, oh, my friend's dreams are bigger than mine. I only have this small dream. And so all of a sudden they have to be inauthentic, create a fake, bigger dream for them to go after in order to fit in with the people around them. And now because it's a fake one, they really don't have any passion for going for it. They don't believe in it. So you really got to define your own success, not compare it to others, and go for what matters most to you, and not listen to the rest. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, AJ, thank you so much for joining us today. How's the best way for people to connect with you, to follow you on social media? What's the best way to find you?
You know what? I always end up having so many things and projects that I'm doing. And so to tell people with this one and that one and things that come up has always been kind of a challenge. So one website that I will always have is my name, AJ Puedan. That's AJ, stands for Always Joyous. AJ Puedan, PUEDAN.com. AJ PUEDAN.com is always a great way to find me, and you'll find out everything that I'm up to. Also, you can always search me on Facebook. Awesome.
Well, we'll make sure it is our social media channels and stuff we get out there and stuff. We'll definitely link that over to you and stuff. So, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to listening to your other podcast too.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Greg.
Hey, you too, brother. You make it a great day.